Today, we're diving into a serious topic: how big pharmaceutical companies, often called Big Pharma, make money by keeping you sick. This video will explain how this system works, who's involved, and why it's a problem for everyone, young and old. What is Big Pharma? Big Pharma refers to the large pharmaceutical companies that make and sell medicine. These companies are supposed to help people get better, but sometimes they focus more on making money than on helping patients. The business of medicine. Unlike other businesses, Big Pharma deals with our health. But just like any business, their goal is to make a profit. Promotion of processed and fast food. The system promotes cheap, highly processed foods full of unhealthy fats, sugars, and chemicals. These foods are heavily marketed and easy to buy, making them a big part of many people's diets. But eating these foods regularly can lead to serious health problems like obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. From fast food to Big Pharma, a cycle of sickness. When people eat unhealthy food, they often get sick. Then they need medicine to treat their illnesses, which means more money for Big Pharma. But because unhealthy food is so cheap and convenient, people go back to eating it, get sick again, and the cycle continues. Lawmakers and food industry ties. The fast food and processed food industries spend a lot of money to influence lawmakers, just like Big Pharma. They push for policies that allow them to keep selling unhealthy foods even though they know these foods make people sick. This keeps people trapped in a cycle of eating bad food, getting sick, and needing expensive medicine. Corruption and influence. Influencing lawmakers. Big Pharma spends millions of dollars on lobbying, paying people to influence lawmakers to make rules that benefit them. This means laws often protect Big Pharma's profits rather than the health of people. Controlling science and research. Pharmaceutical companies often fund the research for new drugs. This can lead to biased results where only the positive outcomes are published and the risks or failures are hidden. Marketing over medicine. In some countries like the United States, Big Pharma is allowed to advertise directly to consumers. They spend more money on marketing than on research, convincing people they need drugs, even when they might not. How Big Pharma keeps you sick. Chronic illness versus cures. Big Pharma makes more money by selling medicines that treat symptoms rather than curing the disease. For example, instead of curing diabetes, they sell insulin that people need to take every day for life. This way, they keep customers coming back. High drug prices. Big Pharma often charges very high prices for drugs, even when the cost to make them is low. Patent system abuse. When a company invents a new drug, they get a patent, which means only they can sell it for a certain number of years. Big Pharma companies often abuse this system by slightly changing a drug to extend their patents, keeping prices high and competition low. Too many drugs. Doctors are sometimes pressured or influenced to prescribe drugs even when they're not necessary. This leads to overprescription, where patients take more medicine than they need, which can cause harmful side effects. Addiction crisis. One of the worst examples of Big Pharma's greed is the opioid crisis. Pharmaceutical companies aggressively marketed addictive painkillers, leading to widespread addiction and thousands of deaths, all while making billions in profits. The profitable business of chronic illness. The economics of sickness. One of the most troubling aspects of the pharmaceutical industry is its business model, which thrives not on selling products but on maintaining a constant need for them. Unlike many businesses that focus on selling a product or service, Big Pharma's model often hinges on the ongoing requirement for medication. This is particularly evident in the case of chronic conditions like hypertension, diabetes, and arthritis. These illnesses require long-term medication, ensuring a continuous revenue stream for pharmaceutical companies. For instance, a company might develop a drug that manages symptoms such as high blood pressure or chronic pain. While this drug helps patients feel better, it doesn't cure the underlying condition. This model guarantees that patients will need to keep buying the medication for the foreseeable future, effectively turning their illness into a perpetual source of income for the pharmaceutical company. Incentives to maintain dependency. Big Pharma's approach to managing chronic illnesses is not just a byproduct of their business model, but a deliberate strategy. By focusing on symptom management rather than cures, these companies ensure a steady flow of income from patients who require lifelong treatment. For example, a drug designed to alleviate symptoms of a chronic condition rather than addressing its root cause ensures that patients remain customers for life. This approach perpetuates a cycle of dependency, where patients continue to purchase medications to manage their conditions rather than achieving a complete cure. High drug prices, a barrier to health. The high cost of medication. One of the most glaring issues within the pharmaceutical industry is the exorbitant cost of medications. Despite the relatively low cost of production for many drugs, pharmaceutical companies often set prices that are unaffordable for average consumers. This price inflation serves as both a barrier to accessing necessary medications and a significant source of profit for these companies. For example, the cost of life-saving medications can reach thousands of dollars per month, making it challenging for many patients to afford their treatments. This high cost often forces patients to make difficult choices between their health and financial stability. The high drug prices are a direct consequence of the profit-driven motives of pharmaceutical companies, which prioritize revenue over accessibility. The role of patents. Patents are meant to encourage innovation by granting exclusive rights to drug developers. However, Big Pharma often exploits this system to maintain high prices. When a company develops a new drug, it is granted a patent that gives it exclusive rights to sell the drug for a set number of years. During this period, the company can charge any price it chooses, often leading to inflated costs. Furthermore, companies frequently extend their patents by making minor modifications to the original drug, such as altering its formulation or delivery method. This practice prevents generic alternatives from entering the market, keeping prices high and competition low. As a result, patients are left paying exorbitant prices for medications that could otherwise be more affordable. The cycle of overprescription. Pressure on healthcare providers. Pharmaceutical companies exert considerable influence over healthcare providers through various means, including promotional materials, sponsored research, and direct incentives. This influence can lead to overprescription, where doctors prescribe more medications than necessary. For example, a doctor might prescribe a new medication that has been heavily marketed by a pharmaceutical company, even if it's not the most appropriate treatment for the patient's condition. Overprescription not only boosts pharmaceutical companies' profits, but also increases the risk of adverse side effects and drug interactions for patients. When patients are prescribed multiple medications, it complicates their treatment regimen and can lead to dangerous interactions between drugs. Additionally, patients may become reliant on these medications, further entrenching their dependency on pharmaceutical products. Impact on patient health. The cycle of overprescription has significant implications for patient health. Patients who are prescribed numerous medications may experience a range of side effects, including nausea, dizziness, and fatigue. These side effects can negatively impact their quality of life and may lead to additional medications being prescribed to manage them. This creates a complex web of treatments that can be difficult to navigate and manage, ultimately exacerbating the patient's health issues rather than resolving them. The addiction crisis, a profitable epidemic. The opioid crisis. One of the most egregious examples of Big Pharma's profit-driven motives is the opioid crisis. Pharmaceutical companies aggressively marketed opioid painkillers as safe and effective, despite knowing the high risk of addiction. This marketing strategy led to widespread addiction and has had devastating consequences for individuals and communities across the country. The aggressive promotion of opioids contributed to an epidemic of addiction, resulting in numerous overdose deaths and a significant strain on public health resources. Even as the crisis unfolded, pharmaceutical companies continued to profit from their products, demonstrating a stark disregard for public health in favor of financial gain. Long-term consequences. The opioid crisis has had far-reaching consequences that extend beyond individual health impacts. It has increased healthcare costs, placed a substantial burden on addiction treatment resources, and led to social and economic challenges for affected communities. The profits made by pharmaceutical companies during the crisis far outweigh the costs of addressing its aftermath, highlighting severe ethical issues within the industry. Lack of accountability and transparency. Opaque pricing structures. The pharmaceutical industry is notorious for its lack of transparency regarding drug pricing. Patients and healthcare providers often have little insight into the true cost of medications or the factors behind price increases. This lack of transparency makes it challenging for consumers to make informed decisions about their treatment options and exacerbates the issue of affordability. For example, patients may be unaware of the differences in pricing between brand-name drugs and generic alternatives, or they may not understand why the price of a medication has increased dramatically over time. This opacity prevents consumers from making choices that could help lower their medication costs and underscores the need for greater transparency in the industry. Regulatory gaps. Current regulations often fall short in holding pharmaceutical companies accountable for unethical practices. There is often insufficient oversight of drug marketing practices, leading to misleading or aggressive promotional tactics. Additionally, the data reported in clinical trials may not be thoroughly scrutinized, allowing for biased results that misrepresent the efficacy and safety of medications. The need for change. Transparency and regulation. Holding Big Pharma accountable. We need more transparency about how drugs are priced and more regulations to prevent Big Pharma from putting profits over people's health. This includes stricter rules on drug pricing, patents, and marketing practices. Support for alternatives. Encouraging natural and preventive care. Instead of relying only on drugs, there should be more support for natural remedies, preventive care, and lifestyle changes that can help people stay healthy without needing as many medications. Summary and call to action. Big Pharma's focus on profit over people's health is a major problem that affects all of us. It's time to demand change, to push for a healthcare system that truly prioritizes curing diseases, making medicine affordable, and ensuring everyone has the chance to live a healthy life. Share your thoughts. If this topic concerns you, share this video, leave a comment, and let's start a conversation about how we can make the world a healthier place for everyone.